Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Contiengecy Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me, as always, is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, welcome, everyone, to our All Rejuvenator podcast.
The Rejuvenator.
Pour one out for the Rejuvenator.
Doesn't matter anymore.
It's gone.
Very gone.
As is this podcast, it's the last podcast we'll ever bring out, right?
Yep. In 2018.
There you go. Well, by the time we post this, it'll be 2019. But anyway, thank you guys very much for stopping by. We are continuing in our reread of Vector Prime in the new Jedi Order. We are on Chapter 24, One Trick to Play. Kind of a little bit longer chapter, too.
I gotta say, just a pre-review, everything happens so fast in this book. It feels
does.
Like...
Well, this chapter especially, everything moves very, very fast, like almost we could have had another chapter.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We could have had like 2 or 3 building up this.
Potentially, yeah.
I don't want to spoil it. We'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into it, but let's go ahead and just pop into Jedi Council. So how's it going?
I'm tired. The holidays have drained me of my dark magic, my dark arts, of the dark side of the Force.
Yeah, I'm a little tired myself, too. I did the traditional watch the ball drop, which I turned it on like 5 minutes before.
Remember
because
when
I
we
can't
used to
listen
watch
to it.
like 5 hours of
but they used
crap.
to have like good music on there, and Dick Clark before he had the stroke, and it was kind of difficult watching him after he kind of came back.
It's kind of sad.
And then Ryan Seacrest, who I can't really deal with him too much. He's like one of the fakest.
He's like Jar Jar.
Fakest people. Well, I don't know. Jar Jar was pretty genuine, or was he? Or was he the Dark Lord?
He was there from the beginning, either way.
Yeah. So, we're recording this actually on New Year's Day, so it is 2019. Got to start writing your dates right and labeling stuff correctly. And
let's be honest, we all are going to put 2018 for a week.
Yeah, more than likely until you get used to it. 2018 has been what was an interesting year, sort of, I guess you could say that. We started a podcast.
Yeah. We've come a long way. I mean, it's hard to believe we're almost done with a book, considering how long it takes to do. I mean,
yep.
Been at it for a while now. I think it's been going well. Yeah,
no, I think so, too. We definitely have a couple people tuning in, although I do have to tell you guys, you should be checking out the Facebook page.
You should.
Go ahead and like that. And also...
talk to me.
Well, yeah. Send us some thoughts and comments on the show. Send them the old Facebook.
I don't care if you just judge all my memes and dislike all of them. Just interact.
There you go. No, that's totally up to you, but it's something we do have out there to try and, hopefully build a little community if we can. And then, so we can all just talk Star Wars. Also have the email address, tcplanpodcast@gmail.com. You can send anything there as well. Maybe, just tell us kind of how you got started in Star Wars, just give us your Star Wars story and we'll read it off on the podcast. But aside from that, we also have Patreon as well. If you're interested in helping support the podcast, that's a good place to go. We have some bonus content there. Our Dinner with the Patron series, that's up and running. We actually just recorded one of those not too long ago, which I have to edit still.
That's right. We had our nice little Wendy's meal.
Yeah.
For the second time. I think we've done that twice now on the podcast.
I don't think we've done. Well, I don't even know. It just all kind of runs into each other. So. Yeah. It's all good. It's all food.
We all just eat at fast food places 24/7.
Well, just
Taco Bell and Wendy's.
Just for those. But anyway, yeah. I don't know. I guess that's about it for me. It really hasn't been all that eventful since the last time we recorded. I got my exhaust fixed on my truck. That was that was sort of big.
I don't feel like I've done anything between Christmas and New Year's, truthfully.
No, not really. Not really. Purchased another pedal. I'm in the guitar pedal. On track to purchase a couple more. Actually, every now and again, this specific pedal company, it's called Tone City. They're a Chinese company. They do mini pedals, but they've been around now for a little bit and very highly rated, and they're fairly cheap. But I try and look for the cheapest of the cheap, because I'm not seriously, gigging or anything like that. So I don't really want to, and a lot of that stuff, I think there's like one U.S. online company. I think that's like Rift City that sells them, I believe. But I try and get them for a little cheaper if I can on like eBay and stuff. Well, somebody posted 2 on eBay. So that was nice. Every now and again, Guitar Center has them in their used section, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, that's really been about it. Looking at power tools.
Oh, did you look at that set I told you about?
Yeah, I looked at it. I looked at it. I'm thinking about it. I don't know.
I'll probably end up getting it too.
I think if they took the reciprocating saw out, put the circular, so I could get both the impact wrench and the impact driver in the drill.
And that's what I want
happy.
Because
I don't really want the reciprocating saw.
I don't need a hacksaw for anything. I mean, it does come in handy, but I have a corded one. And the circular saw you need. And I'd like the impact for, changing
both impacts.
Yeah.
Driver and the wrench.
Now, if the driver's powerful enough to take my lugs off, I'll be happy, but they rarely are. I've had one that can do it.
I mean, that's still 24 volt, which is good, but at the same token, now you'd really want the impact wrench.
But it's only $100 for the bare tool, so it's not bad. I actually found on Facebook
for the bare tools.
Yeah, $100 for the wrench. I found on.
Okay, I got it. I got what you're saying. Yeah.
I found the set on Marketplace. It's pretty much brand new. All 3 impact wrenches they make for $250.
Wow. Okay.
So,
yeah. Well, I just have a Lowe's gift card I need to spend. So
spend that money.
I gotta.
Did you look at the price of their batteries? You could get it.
I didn't look at those. No.
That's why I want it. Their batteries are like $10-15. They're cheap.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. So yeah, tools and guitar pedals.
And I was on the verge of ordering that katana last night. And for those you don't know, I'm not talking about a third hobby. No, I'm not trying to buy a sword. I'm talking about an amplifier. Yeah,
I was on Guitar Center's website last night. They had a used Fender Champion 100 watt for $200, and I don't know. I really don't need to spend any more money, but I would thought about it.
I kind of got a cool little thing I'm looking forward to. So my girlfriend's brother has a camper that, he doesn't use, so he's going to gut it. We're going to make a little recording studio, and we're going to have a little setup for the 2 of us and his dad to play music in, and another podcast that we do on the side. And hopefully when we get it all set up, we'll have a little better audio, because when he comes over to record where I'm at, we'll be able to use that setup.
Yeah, yep. So yeah, always something going on. Always something going on, even if it is relatively small. I was actually just looking back to see if that amp was still available, because it was just put on yesterday. Oh, yep, it is still available. $100 or $200, be about $250.
If it was $100, I'd jump on it right now.
Well, yeah, if it were $100 for a two 12-inch speaker amp with all the rest of the stuff on here, heck yeah. I don't know. I should probably.
I feel like this is the worst time to make any decisions with money. I just feel like I need to sleep for like 2 days straight after the holidays.
Well, when those tax returns come in.
That's right. Spend it all right away.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, let's go ahead and hop into HoloNet here. Not a ton of Star Wars related news going on at the moment.
We tried.
Well, we're kind of still waiting on trailer, which by all indications we'll get a teaser during the Super Bowl, which that's kind of what I expect. I think that's how we got Solo.
Yeah.
So
we get that for Force Awakens as well?
I don't remember. I
feel like we did. I can't remember now, but I think they've done that for almost every movie.
Yeah, but I know that a lot of people were thinking like last week or the week before last on what was it, the 1-year anniversary of The Last Jedi. They were thinking, oh yeah, they're gonna do it then. I was like, no, they're not. They're gonna do it Super Bowl.
Really makes sense.
Super Bowl, and then the full trailer will be out at Celebration.
Yep.
I mean that was my thought.
They're gonna catch more people on the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, and that's a bit, and literally, I remember I was at my buddy Ezra's house, and me and him and Matt were just sitting there, kind of waiting for it, because to be honest, I don't even remember who the hell played in the Super Bowl last year.
Couldn't tell you.
It wasn't my team.
I didn't watch it.
So we basically watched it, and it was I think it was right before the halftime show, maybe. But anyway, yeah, well, that's pretty much why we had the game on. I mean, yeah, we were watching the game, but I didn't really care. I didn't really care about the teams in the Super Bowl, to be honest with you. I have my team, and that's about all I care about anymore. But yeah, we watched that, and then we turned the sound off and did a recording for the Rebel Watch podcast and like a reaction for it. So, but yeah, that's always fun. So no real news on that. We'll see when we see. Just a couple of the major headlines. Do have a begin to the filming for the untitled Rogue One series spinoff, which will be starting in October 2019.
That's something I'm a little interested in.
I think so. And I think it looks like they're trying to sandwich it in between for release between or excuse me, I guess it's kind of going to be like somewhere around like Mandalorian and then Rogue One series spinoff and then drop of the episode 9. So,
and I'm still on the fence for any Star Wars series. I don't know how that would adapt.
Well, it'll be
a weekly series, but
yeah, it's
certainly
something
going to watch them.
Something you have to. Just to watch, and I don't know weekly. I mean, because I think this is all going on streaming, so I think it's just going to be a
Netflix style. Just drop it all and binge watch it.
Yeah,
I prefer that honestly nowadays.
I don't.
Really?
It's fine and all, but I think that style of television has led to the really poor programming on cable. And then the shorter it continues to harbor short attention span. I think we need to learn how to be more patient. Because I remember TV shows when I was young. Like one of my favorite TV shows when I was young was the X-Files, and like every Sunday when it dropped, it was kind of like a family thing. Sit down and watch it. And it wasn't so much about like, getting PO'd because the next episode isn't immediately out. You got to have more patience. So, but I see this a lot with like, I used to watch Food Network, Iron Chef, which coincidentally I just found a whole bunch of episodes on YouTube of the old Japanese Iron Chef. So I was watching some of that.
Love that one.
That was good. And but now pretty much when you look at the programming for the Food Network, again, just for an example, it's
garbage.
It's basically like, 6 episode blocks of one show and then 6 episode blocks of another show. So that's kind of how a lot of programming is becoming in the weekly episode TV, be patient, wait, sort of deal isn't exactly the same. I mean, it still happens, obviously. It still does happen, but you can stream so much nowadays. Everybody's just more interested in just watching episode after episode after episode. So,
well, the only reason I prefer that, and I don't know if many other people have that issue, but for me, I miss out on a lot of the little details of a show going week to week. Unless you rewatch it, it's easy to forget a lot in that week's time.
I mean, yeah,
so.
I can see that. Yeah, I just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So anyway,
and quick reminder: we are in full swing of the Age of Rebellion comic books. We have not personally read them yet, but
yeah, we haven't got into them yet.
For those of you who don't know, Marvel was commissioned to make. It was around 30 comics, I think.
We talked about it on an earlier episode.
Yeah, we did. But for anyone new, there are comics for Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul out now.
Yep.
They're little, not origin stories, but it's a good little chunk of their past. And, any new information about Qui-Gon's good for me. I mean, so yeah, that's something we definitely need to do in the near future is get those and review them. But yeah, that's something I'm actually looking forward to. I'm kind of more excited about that than the TV series, honestly.
Have they started to release those?
Yeah, Qui-Gon's out. Maul might not be out, but I saw a few headlines that Qui-Gon had been dropped.
Okay.
I believe that was the 28th or the 29th of December. So
Yeah. Okay.
Maul might not be out yet. I might be wrong about that.
Well, anyway, yeah, we'll definitely get into those as we can. I need to make sure to look into that a little bit. So yeah, the other little piece of news here we could talk about a little bit. So we had all kind of had this discussion earlier, and it's been talked to death. But so they didn't figure out a way to essentially kill off Princess Leia in The Last Jedi. So I think the original plan was she was going to be a big part of Episode 9.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, Carrie Fisher did pass away, and there's not much you can do about that. It is what it is. And then a lot of talk shifted to how are they going to resolve that, and that's been kind of a big issue. For me, I always thought, just you let 5 years pass between the movies, and then you open on a big funeral for, just have like a really big send-off in the beginning of the movie. And that passes the torch on to the new characters, because obviously you'd have Poe more in line to lead the, quote, rebellion or resistance or whatever the hell they want to call themselves. And then, Rey and Finn, in my opinion, could just go off and have little side quests.
Without Rose?
Well, yeah, I think Kelly Marie Tran is a good person and all. I thought that the character was unnecessary, yeah. But that's just me. But she's there, so you kind of have to deal with that in one form or fashion. But I just kind of, and I'm not a Reylo fan. No, I don't really.
Neither am I.
I don't really like that. And
I'm really not worried about the romance in Star Wars in general.
Yeah, I'm not super worried about that either. But my whole thing is that, well, I don't. We'll talk about it another time. But I just kind of had this whole thought process of like, so you killed Snoke. You have to have a villain.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people out there talking about, Ben, he has to redeem himself. And then what? Hux takes over.
They kind of neutered him in The Last Jedi.
Well, again, like a lot of people say that, but a lot of people haven't read Aftermath. Like there's a reason why Hux is Hux. It's because he was a very shattered, timid little boy, and his father, who, helped create these super soldiers, for Gallius Rex. He was an abusive, SOB. And so, yeah, I understand why Hux is the way Hux is. He's uptight. He's highly wound. So I have no issue with his character, but he's not strong enough to be like the overall villain. There are some ways that I could tie it in, but they involve Snoke not being dead.
Yeah, but Kylo really isn't all that much better. I hate to say it.
I think he could be. I think he's a strong enough character.
The writing would have to be better.
I think he's a strong enough character to be truly evil. Yeah. Because at the same token, like, we could talk about, we're not going to talk about it so much because it would just blow a lot of things in the book series, but, a little bit of Jason's kind of downfall. Mm-hmm. So, and was he the strongest? No, but he took on that role. And I think it's similar. I think it's a decent enough parallel. But, Ben, he's just sort of, in a way, somewhat childish. But at the same token, he's a powerful Jedi, or Sith, I guess, and comes from a line that is strong with the Force. So, in my opinion, he absolutely could be the ultimate bad guy. But in order for people to want to do this whole redemption arc, that's fine. But then what? Then what?
That's a lot of juggling. How are you gonna do that unless it's the last scene in the movie?
Yeah, I don't know.
He can't redeem himself halfway through, and then go on this epic quest to save the world, because what's he saving it from?
Well, you either do one of two things. You either give him the Anakin treatment, and I hate to say this because a lot of people get on it. Well, no, it can't be like the originals or whatever. Why? You either give him the Anakin treatment at the end of episode 3, and instead of just like continuing on, or hell, I don't know, maybe you put him in a suit, or you kill him. And, he's just all consumed by his anger and can't see any reason. And then Rey has to destroy him in some form or fashion, because I do believe it would have to be Rey. Or you kind of give him the episode 6 treatment, and then the redemption, and he still dies.
But the redemption of Vader was killing...
And that's
the Emperor, so how does he redeem himself?
And see, that's my point. I've always said they killed Snoke off too quickly.
Yeah, that would have been a perfect way to end the trilogy. How they killed Snoke was kind of cool.
But it's too much like the originals. Well, then you just have him be the ultimate bad guy, and instead of having a more drawn-out backstory like Vader, you just destroy him. He's just destroyed at the end, and it's a terrible sacrifice. But at the end of the day, you have to just clear it out. Yeah. It's just done. But a lot of people are going to want to keep on to the Skywalker lineage, and he is, well, by all indications, the last Skywalker. Well, or related Skywalker, kind of.
We don't want to talk about that.
Well, there's a lot. But anyway, getting back into the original story with Leia. So her brother and also her daughter, who, I can't remember what character. She played one of the military officers that supported Poe in the little rebellion against Purple Hair. So they were both of the opinion that, the scenes in which JJ was going to use are, they're so good. It's going to be like they were shot yesterday, type of it. Well, shot yesterday, but it's not like they were shot 30 years ago and then rehashed. And they didn't want to go into a older CGI Leia. Like, I thought they did a darn good job with Tarkin.
I did too.
I thought that was probably some of the best CGI I've seen. Now, the CGI Leia in Rogue One, there was something a bit unnatural about that for me, but the Tarkin, I thought that was really good, which is odd seeing as they were in the same movie.
Right. They put all their budget into Tarkin. It's like, well, just make her scene very short.
It's just when she smiled, it's just like I feel like her mouth just moved like too up, like it was just too much. But I'm not a CGI expert. But anyway, I agree with not using CGI to that effect. I thought that would have been horrible. But again, in my opinion, I probably would have figured out a way to end it in The Last Jedi.
It's just a bit of sloppy writing at this point, and it's a lot to clean up.
Well, it's not necessarily sloppy writing, though, when you think about it, because they had no idea that she was going, Carrie Fisher was going to die.
Well, I'm not talking just that. I mean, because I think what we were talking with Kylo Ren, too. You make him kind of a martyr and a villain at the same time, and it's very difficult to do that and then base the story arc around him.
Sure.
And, it's going to be difficult with Carrie. There's no way around that.
Yeah, but like I said, I think that they wanted to make her a large part of Episode 9. I think she was going to be a big part of it, and obviously, we just don't get the chance to see that, so there's not much you can do.
And I go back to, I think that it might need to be a 2-parter.
Well, a lot of people have said that.
First half just to clean up the mess.
A lot of people have said that. The only thing is that I don't believe they have enough villain for a 2-parter.
They could do the Anakin route if they did the 2-parter, though.
No.
Could make that argument.
Yeah, maybe. I still don't. I don't know. Until the Episode 9 credits fully roll, I don't necessarily know that Snoke is dead. I mean, come on. In a technological society such as that, how hard would it be to fake someone's death? I mean,
it could have been a hologram.
It could have been something between him and Hux, realizing that Kylo was going to turn and seeing how destructive he could be, and then all of a sudden, here comes Snoke out of the shadows. It's like, I had you the entire time, and there you have his redemption arc.
Yep. Yeah, because
he can't live.
it would be very easy for that to have been a hologram.
I'm just saying that could be something very easy, but I also don't think that Kylo Ren survives the movie.
Oh, I don't know either.
Why and how would he?
No,
what would you do with him?
What would have happened if Darth Vader had survived? You got to think about it. I mean, it doesn't work. There has to be a sacrifice. Luke's sacrifice can't count towards this movie, so there has to be someone.
Yeah, it's another sore subject for a lot of people, but anyway, that was kind of a little bit on that. But apparently, the scenes are family approved.
That's a good sign.
I've heard a lot of good stuff. They say they're very respectful, very very well shot. So we will see how that all turns out. But I think let's go ahead and pop into our reread. Again, we are on chapter 24, One Trick to Play. And we had previously left off where New Republic and our heroes got their butts kicked by the Yuuzhan Vong.
Ran home with tail between legs.
Yep, pretty much. But everyone was, at least all the major players, were able to escape.
Mm-hmm.
And we picked up Danny.
Yep.
Miko's gone, though.
Yeah, well.
But we picked up Danny.
I like how we just forgot about him.
It was kind of lame. I mean, I get what he was doing, but they just didn't really say much about it. So anyway, as we come into the chapter, we have Jason and Danny in the little stylish ship.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, what was it? So they did wind up taking off the cloakers.
Yeah. And they have loose-fitting skirts on.
Yeah, everybody has some really loose-fitting clothes on here, so they're all just crammed in this little thing.
And this part is really cringy, guys. This is as
Well,
bad as like the early chapters. Oh, her soft, creamy skin.
did it actually say that?
I think it said creamy. I can't remember if it...
Well, they both feel quite naked.
Yeah.
And apparently, I mean, this is all from the viewpoint of Jason, but, he's like, he felt quite naked. And obviously, Danny did too, with her tiny, loose-fitting, stuff on. And then it rolls into, well, you're an angel. No, he looked at her, really looked at her.
For the first time.
And nearly lost his breath at the beauty he saw in her. Well, but, I mean, in truth... Danny was a mess, bruises on her face, curly blonde hair, matted and ragged. But, Jason was like,
you're an angel.
I'm going to make a little necklace for you and give it to you so you remember me by. Oh, goodness. But Danny's obviously really distraught, She kind of did, just say one word, is Miko. And, they both kind of understood, that he's gone. But... yeah, he, what was the last little... He dared to bring his hand around the back of her head. That could go real dirty. His finger is sliding into her thick shock of hair?
Is it actually shock of hair?
I have SHOCK, shock of hair. Thick shock of hair?
Hold on, that might be a typo. Let me try and find
Hey, man, I'm not saying I don't. This is first edition book, brother.
Uh-huh.
It says thick shock of hair, and then he pulled her close. Danny didn't resist. She buried her face in Jason's strong shoulders and allowed the tears to flow.
Just no comments. No comments, anyone.
Yeah, well, he was just struck so much by her beauty.
All right, back to the 3 ships in hyperspace.
Dun, 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 dun. Yep. Oh, let's see here. And essentially, just popping around here, but Danny starts to tell their story. They all kind of congregate, and Danny starts to tell her story, explaining the enemy force they now faced, the Praetorian Vong, for the time they had breached the Galactic Rim, to their journey to Belkaden, to her experiences under their control. And at that point, Luke did interrupt her briefly to just let her know about the ultimate fate of Belkaden.
As if she didn't have enough on her mind.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you'd want to hear it, I suppose.
Yeah.
But everybody's dead! Let's see. She didn't really explain much, at least in writing here. I mean, she was just explaining to them. We don't get a rehash. But let's see. He said he joined in when she got to the end of her tale, the escape, the rescue by Jason, the death of Miko. When the pair finished, there was near silence for a while, except that the people on the Millennium Falcon and the Merry Miner could hear Luke and Mara speaking quietly about something. Care to let us in on the secret? Leia asked. That's how I assume she said it. Probably not. We were talking about the creature Danny spoke of, the Mosk, the war coordinator. And this is actually kind of an interesting, realization. Now, Anakin already got this, as we saw in the last chapter. They start to realize that the coordination between the first attack on Dunbrillion and now this battle in the Haleska system was very different. They were far more coordinated, and so why? But now that Danny is kind of telling them about the war coordinator, they start to understand a little bit more as to what gave them a kind of a quote advantage here, right?
Mm-hmm. And I forget if they explain this. Now they're setting up multiple war coordinators. Do they interact with each other, or are they working on their own?
We're not there yet. We only have the one. They had said that this one was basically ready to spawn another one, but they hadn't done that yet, to my knowledge. Oh, let's see here. Now, Yuz and Vong were always talking about being joined together by the war coordinator, Danny put in. You feel the power when we went down. Feel the power down into the atmosphere, Luke added. Absolutely, Leia replied. Yeah, come on, Leia. You didn't.
I didn't. Han said.
Yeah, I didn't. I just know that my instruments were a bit wacky. I obviously we know this doesn't happen, but I always just wanted it to be like he was just faking it the entire time, and like really he actually is force sensitive, but he's just being like,
great.
Oh, hokey religions and stuff. Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden he just like force lightning somebody or something like that, and not. Well, maybe not, because that's kind of more Sith-ish. But it's just
throw
like,
a boulder at someone.
It's like, I'm one of those hokey Jedi things the entire time, Luke. Sorry, should have known.
Have a little tiny mini blaster as the handle of his gun.
Well, there actually was. I can't remember where that was from, but there was. Must have been in one of the cartoons or something. But there was someone who had a blaster lightsaber thing. Or was a lightsaber with like a blaster at the end or whatever.
Yeah, I kind of remember that too. Yeah.
Hey, man, best of both worlds. Right. Let's see here. So they're talking about the power. Jaina puts in, I felt it. I felt it a long way out from the planet. But down near the surface, it was incredible, overwhelming. So that creature is what turned our enemies into such a tremendous force. The creature brought them together into a singular fighting unit. And then Anakin, of course, like me, Jason, and Jaina in the belt. Shut up, Anakin.
Yeah, only much better.
Well, with practice, they could obviously do a lot. But yeah, I mean, essentially that's the same thing. And Anakin kind of pointed that out. I was like, well, they're not using the Force, but something like the Force.
It's interesting that they're more in tune to the war coordinator than they are the Yuz and Vong. They can't really sense anything with the Yuz and Vong, but...
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's true. Oh, let's see here. Now, they are then talking about here now, Luke is basically, then we have to destroy that creature. Now, Danny puts in here, basically, that's like going to be a tall task. There's hundreds of warriors under the crust of the ice, so you can't just, go in there and start hacking and slashing. And then Danny also adds, the Yamosk itself would stop you. It's huge, and the energy that you felt about the planet pales in comparison to what it can do up close. And then Anakin, being a little indignant, Uncle Luke's a Jedi.
No, they say it weird in mine. I don't know if yours is
Yeah,
a typo. Mine is Luke is Jedi.
Well, I think you have a typo.
I think, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if yours isn't typo. But
I don't know, but yeah, it just says Uncle Luke is. Oh no, it says Uncle Luke is Jedi. Is that how it's typed for you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, it is. I just must have auto corrected it myself in my brain. So was Miko, and the husk overwhelmed him. Repeated.
Jedi Master. You shut your mouth.
And then Anakin obviously Jedi Master, but obviously this thing is a force. It doesn't matter if you're a Jedi Master or whatever. It's gonna affect you. And even as great a Jedi as Luke, it'd be interesting to see. Well, sort of.
Yeah, Luke could just tear it in half.
Yeah, I guess with his bare hands.
And cause a blood rush.
Blood rush. Oh, let's see here. So then they start kind of thinking about how they can do this, and Han's basically saying it would take half the actual fleet. And but they don't have that kind of time here. Luke kind of perceives that they need to hit quick in some form or fashion instead of waiting for the fleet. And let's see. I'm going to pop down a little bit here because we'll get to the actual plan, which honestly, man, so sci-fi plan, really.
Yeah.
I want to get where I want to start. Too bad we couldn't just shut the volcanoes off and freeze the thing.
Which, by the way, shut up, Jason. Just shut up.
We can. Huh? We can shut the volcanoes off, or at least we can freeze the water around them. Oh, evaporation.
Little Annie.
Earth Science 101.
Little Annie's just a scientist now. Remember those classes we had in the Jedi Academy?
About evaporation? Yeah. About melting
An absolute
ice.
zero? Or whatever they call it.
Yeah. So essentially,
Absolute zero, it's what they call it.
and again, this is kind of a weakness of the planet. It's a ball of ice.
Yeah.
So essentially, what they're going to try and do is effectively. So the center is water. Mm-hmm. It's very cold, but they want to try and evaporate the top to freeze the bottom. So cool, right?
Yeah. Just make it smaller so it completely freezes.
So hey,
Logic.
Lando, how many of them shield ships you got?
Not many now.
Yeah. Shield ships. I thought they were all destroyed. Well, I had to build a few more. Couldn't lose the technology after all. Oh, so basically, what's the plan? I mean, they're essentially gonna
They're
redirect.
gonna fly around the planet quickly, causing energy buildup, which would cause the planet to evaporate and instantly freeze until the center froze.
Sure, sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
Could you just imagine this plan being done in a movie?
That's why I said it's
in a movie.
It's very sci-fi. You better bring back Kip and all the starfighters and gunships we can manage too, just to help protect the shield ships while they move in close and do their work.
Already making the call, baby.
Goodness. Oh yeah. So we do have a split out of kind of who's going where. Jaina, Jason, and Danny could get out of the Mary Minor and go aboard other ships, with Jason taking Lando's place in the Falcon's bottom gun pod, Danny going to the Jade Saber with Jaina and Mara, and Luke going back to the Jade Saber's hold, prepping his X-Wing for the coming fight.
At least Luke's part is pretty awesome in this.
Yeah, if you say so. No, I'm just kidding, it is.
Shut up, it was badass.
Oh, so some of the other squadron here, let's see. So we had Kip's squadron. None of the Ranger gunships had joined this force. Basically, their command was to wait for the New Republic's reinforcements. Now, he thought that command was an error. Again, it's kind of more about they're realizing that the Yuuzhan Vong are just going to take planet to planet to planet. Mm-hmm. So they've already had a battle. they have to go down there now, hit quick, strike fast, and try and come to some sort of resolution because effectively they're not going to have the entire force coming with them. And they already had the biggest and baddest, newest special starship and gunships and everything, and they didn't even really make a dent.
Right.
So they kind of have to, try something a little different. But he does start to think, maybe they should just retreat back to Dunbrillion, make a makeshift fleet, hold it together, stay on target, fight to the end, that sort of stuff.
That sounds stupid.
Well, they didn't wind up doing it.
And by the way, I love that they choose the ship, and they even describe it this way, the lumbering shield ships that are very slow to drive around the planet quickly.
Well, guess what? They came in hot on the very edge of disaster.
Yeah.
So,
did you cringe when you read this part? Because I just don't feel like this is something Luke would do.
Which part? Lay it out. Which one are you thinking about?
Them pretty much crashing into each other because they took a massive risk making the jump.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. It was. So let's see. They came in hot on the very edge of disaster, plotting coordinates and speeds that brought them out of hyperspace practically as a singular unit and right near the fourth planet of the Haleska system. So close, in fact, that the pair of ships, the one cruiser that had joined the fleet and the starfighter slammed right into the planet, so close together that another pair of starfighters clipped wings and went spinning and exploding away, one of them taking out a third in the process. Luke, who had ordered the dangerous jump, could only wince at the losses and at the notion that they were acceptable losses for the ragtag fleet. Could not have done it any other way. Why? Why couldn't have done it any other way?
They couldn't have calculated it a little better than that?
Well,
you're saying...
Who knows?
There's no other option. Okay.
But yeah, that was kind of odd. That was odd. First, the pilots of those shield ships reported little energy, but then suddenly, as if the war coordinator has simply flipped a switch, each of the pilots cried out that the energy readings of the honeycombed holes had suddenly soared. The Yamask had awoken to the threat. And then the coral skippers are coming up at them. Cover the shield ships. Give them the time they need. Let's see. Luke's X-Wing led the Falcon and the Jade Saber into position, protecting one of the shield ships as it worked to deflect energy back on the planet, while the other fighters similarly went to their positions, some holding defensive arrays, while others, using decoys as defense, charged the coral skippers and vectored away, bringing pursuit after them and thus away from the shield ships. So again, they're just trying to run interference for the shield ships as they basically redirect the energy that the Yamask is potentially throwing at them back on the planet. It's good times. Let's pop over to a new point of view. Dagara. Prefect to go to Dagara. Rushed to join the Yamask when word sounded of a second attack. At first, the prefect feared that the first attack might have been a ruse, and that this second fleet would prove much larger and stronger, despite all the indications and reports that there were no mighty enemy ships remaining in this region of the galaxy. When the Yamask communicated to him the truth of the attacks, however, that the force was minuscule compared to the previous one, and that only notable additions were the giant shield ship vessels and the fleet attacking. Okay, sure. So basically, I mean, there's just like, oh, cool, there's these giant shield ships, but that's about it, dude. You should go kill them. Is that pretty much how the Yamask said it? Oh. Now, Dagara.
I feel like he did it in a surfer voice, too. Come on, bro. You should totally just go kill them. They just have these stupid shield ships. They're just sitting there. Come on, man.
Why not? Well, Dagara has an interesting thought here. So he's thinking that because it's such a small force, maybe Dani is still on the planet and that they're coming to rescue her.
How important does he think Dani is?
Very. Because he still thinks, like, at the end of this, he could get her back. It's just weird. Let's see here. The Yamask held a theory about the giant shield ships. The enemy was going to try and use these ships to defeat the energy field about the planet, perhaps to turn the energy back on the planet in the hopes of defeating the Dalvin Bassel gravity wells or the tracking of the surface cannons. The war coordinator was not worried, for despite the proximity of the giant umbrella-like ships and the fact that they were reflecting energy back on the planet, it could still feel the consciousness of the coral skippers could still guide the battle. So, even the Yamask is kind of like, well, this is like a distraction.
Yeah.
They don't seem to compute the evaporation. So I guess the Yuuzhan Vong never took Earth science class.
I don't see why they would.
Well, hey, man, everybody has evaporation.
If Yeoman Carr had just been there, he had been around the humans more than anyone else. He would know.
Oh, and you're right. This does continue to speed up pretty quick. So then we pop back to Luke. Luke's hull sensors and R2-D2 on the back indicated that the temperature had begun to rise. Not dramatically, but noticeably. The thin air around him was tingling, alive with energy. The Moss-Own assault, combined with the relative reflective power of the ever-lowering shield ships, a tremendous fog was coming up from the icy surface of the planet as the energy altered the state of the matter. And to the heightening of Luke's optimism, the fog was dissipating almost as fast as rising, a mounting cycle of evaporation.
Evaporation, no breathing.
Okay, that's super. Get out of here.
I know, babe. Couldn't resist.
So yeah, he's just kind of flying around, chilling, doing his thing, flying in the fog. Kind of has some issues here.
He's just like, coral skippers. I'm not even gonna kill them.
Yeah,
I can just avoid them.
He was basically just evading him like a kind of a distraction, I guess.
Hold my beer, guys. Watch what I can do.
Yeah, exactly. So Jaina felt the adrenaline pumping as the Jade Saber got into it hot and heavy with the coral skippers. Next time on Mansers. How hot and heavy can the Jade Saber handle it? Oh, so she's piloting. Jane is piloting. Mara is handling the main guns, and Danny is trying to help wherever she could, which basically means she's
not
doing
doing much.
Yeah, she's basically doing nothing. Yeah.
I think the writer forgot that Danny's not all that important either.
I don't know.
But
I think
she's got to be
cool.
on the ship.
She's cool.
She's cool. She's I don't know.
Hey, man. Well, Jaina in all this, she's like, oh, you know what? Dad's a really good pilot. See that? See my dad doing that? He's really good. He's not a Jedi, but he's really good. Oh, it was wonderful flying.
Danny's like, that's cool.
Yeah, Danny's just sitting in the back. This one time I killed this tiger thing.
I think your
awesome.
brother's in love with me.
Yeah, it was really. The hug was nice and all, but there's just something about.
He called me an angel.
I think he had a bag of quarters in his pocket. I don't know. It was weird.
And then Annie walks up. You're an angel.
Let's get out of here. Well, I do kind of want to skip ahead of a little bit of this because honestly, she's just diving and dodging. Yeah. But she's noticing that she's putting Aunt Mara in position to destroy coral skippers, but nothing is happening.
Yeah. Scary moment when I read that, honestly.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. So she's slumped over. Mara is slumped over. She's unconscious, apparently. And then, like Danny's like, what can I do? Trying to help. But unfortunately, Jaina kind of, in a way, has a bit of an emotional response here. So she's like going over trying to help her aunt, but at the same token, like
no one's flying now.
Yeah, so they're hit a few times and they start to kind of spiral towards the planet.
And this, in turn, puts Luke in a stupid position.
Luke's just down here on the planet, rocking highway to the danger zone. Yeah. Highway to the... Oh, my God, the ship's going down. Very short little descriptor of this, but essentially, he sees the ships going down, And oh no, wait. Oh, this is where they skip between point of views for this exact same. I'll be honest, I didn't like this at all.
I didn't either.
It was very odd, and I don't mean to be overly critical, but so it jumps to Luke, and then like he's playing Highway to the Danger Zone, and he's like, the very end is like, and then he saw the Jade Saber spinning down, breaching the atmosphere, and dropping out of control, and his heart sank. And then Han and Leia, it's like Mara and Danny and their daughter, they're all dying.
And then back to Luke.
Did you notice the order of that? Mara and Danny and their daughter.
Yeah.
Not their daughter
Danny's
first.
now so important.
We all know who the favorite is, and it's
Danny
not Jaina.
Queen.
Goodness.
I just heard that she killed this cougar once, so I just love
She's
her more than my
badass,
daughter.
Man. She's cool. she's a cool chick.
Hey, you know she is gonna eventually be our daughter-in-law, so I mean,
Oh God,
we have to worry about it.
Let's not. Anyway, I mean, you just met her 5 minutes ago.
Janny.
Get out of here. Janny. Anyway, so Luke, I think he probably turns off Highway to the Danger Zone at this point.
No, he blares it.
Just the instrumental. Dun, 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 dun.
R2D2 max volume. Oh, R2D2's not responding. He's a little cold right now.
But basically, I mean, what he does is
the coolest thing ever.
I'll read it if you think it's the coolest thing ever.
He drives his X-Wing right underneath the ship, does a barrel roll, and hits his repulsors, all of them, and bounces his ship back upward.
Yep.
Awesome.
Pretty much. So he single-handedly pulls Jade Saber out of a stall.
And I'm calling bullcrap.
Yeah, it seems a little bit. But anyway, we're in space, folks.
I just imagine him like doing that, and then the X-Wing just slams into the ground.
Well, you know,
and then the ship falls on top of it.
There was the part of that where, you know, he's like, no, he's kind of going, but I can handle it. I'll do fine.
I think that's when he realizes R2's offline.
Oh God!
At that point, I can't remember now.
Well. Then the very last of that point of view before we skip, they had reached a critical point. The evaporation had taken on a life of its own and at frightening speed.
So evaporation's alive now.
Yeah, pretty much. So at this point,
another tool for the Yuuzhan Vong to use.
Yeah. At this point, they are sensing that the coordination is off. Yeah. So they're a little bit. It's easier to pick off the coral skippers at this point, which, you know, so it's pretty sweet. There was one part in here which I thought was interesting where like two of them just kind of barreled into each other. And they're like, oh, nice shot, kid. I didn't. Anakin said, me neither. Jason, I was like, they just look at each other. I didn't do it. Did you do it? No, they're just stupid.
No, I did it. No, never mind. I did it. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah. Well, they're still outnumbered, but... You know.
Yeah, but now they can't fly, so they're just going to keep running into each other. No, do you think they're just like listening to Highway to the Danger Zone when they're driving their coral
I don't
skippers?
think
They don't have to think. It's
who
like,
knows, man. Oh, let's see here.
But 3PO has answers.
Yeah. C-3PO always has answers. Where's C-3PO at here? I don't remember. Did he actually talk during this entire thing?
He just ignored Leia.
Yeah, apparently. He's just clutching to the edge of his seat. Oh, the fog around the planet had lifted. A view of the icy world became more and more clear until within a span of seconds, there was not a wisp of vapor in the atmosphere. Han's breath came back to him, and Leia gasped in delight as a familiar form grew before them, the Jade Saber breaking out. And then Anakin squealed, what the heck is that? The Mizzen-Canley wave, the fourth state of matter. Just sort of seems like a weird thing.
I just wish everyone on the comms be like, Annie, stop showing off. Just shut up. Just shut up. We know what it is.
It's got to be freezing below it. The water's got to be got to be solidifying at least.
Solidifying.
Yep, basically the coordinator's in a deep freeze. In a deep freeze. Oh, let's skip a page. We're basically at the end.
What happens when the planet starts up again?
Well, and this is kind of an interesting thing here. So let's go ahead and so they're basically at this point looking at retreat.
Yeah.
It hit Han then and hard, the reality of what he was doing. For his retreat, so much like the retreat Anakin had pulled on Serpidal, leaving Chewie behind, he almost turned the Falcon back around, plunging towards the planet in a desperate search for Luke. Almost.
But he could not.
But he could not. See? They understand each other
See
now.
what they did there? Full circle. I like what they did there.
Oh, great quakes rocked the surface of the planet. A chasm appeared, a long canal, exploding and running with supersonic speed from pole to pole.
Yeah.
Nothing innuendo about that. And then the whole planet blew. A shattering, sparkling explosion of ice crystals spinning out, catching the Alaska system's rays in a myriad of sparkles and colors.
Yay.
Out of the widening cloud came a single black speck, a single X-wing running with all speed, surfing on the very edge of an overpowering wave. Now he's playing the Beach Boys.
My Uncle Luke's so cool. He just surfs on an explosion with his X-Wing.
Yep, well, that's the end of it. So they destroyed the planet.
Essentially, other than a little bit of wrap up, that's the
Which
book.
is actually kind of interesting. Why did it explode?
I would think it just would refreeze.
I guess I didn't take
Maybe.
Earth. I guess I didn't take Earth science either. I just kind of
This isn't Earth.
whatever.
It's space water.
Alaska science doesn't matter. You get my point. Some sort of planet science.
It was just a weird freaking chapter.
Yeah, kind of a little bit of a sci-fi solution. Obviously, it worked. Our heroes got away. Luke surfing USA all over the overpowering wave from pole to pole.
It's just weird because Star Wars really never went the sci-fi route with these solutions.
Well,
not often.
Not really. I mean,
Until recent years with, a couple of the newer movies, but
well,
back then they didn't.
it was more like practical military solutions to a lot of things while intertwining the Force and the kind of the Jedi sort of deal, like, oh, I'm going to guide this bolt down the hole, which never mind. I'm not going to talk about that. But anyway, no, it's just like a normal person to do that. It just sort of, you're going to impact on the surface every time.
Right.
But yeah, interesting chapter, very quick chapter. What'd you think of it? It was your favorite chapter to date, wasn't it?
Yeah, sure. Whatever. Let's go with that.
You're an angel.
That was a little
weird
cringy,
chapter.
I
It
guess.
wasn't my favorite by far. No.
It was. I mean,
Their solution was just kind of like,
It was interesting. I
they
mean, like,
put a lot of time into this book, and I just wonder if they ran out of time or
I get
ideas.
it. Like, I get why. Okay, like I do understand, but it's just it's kind of weird. It's a little weird, but hey, they did it. They destroyed the Praetorian Vong. It's all over, right?
Sure, we're done. We gotta find a new series now. Maybe we'll go to Star Trek. Who knows? That's all of the Star Wars ever. There was just one book.
Oh, we lied about the other 19 or 18 books in the series. It was a lie. It was a ruse. We're just here to get you to listen to us so we can let you down. No, but we got a lot left. So we are heading into the final two chapters, which, because they are literally like 4 pages a piece, we are going to combine those in the next episode. And then after that, we will do a big old Vector Prime wrap-up episode, Party Jamboree. Right?
Sure.
Streamers.
Can we play Cantina music the entire time in the background?
No, I would literally want to jump out of a window.
Do it for one song, 5 minutes.
No.
Can we put it in for the listeners?
No.
And we don't have to hear it that way.
Oh, God.
Can I imagine it in my head the entire time, bopping along, talking
that's-
about my opinion?
That's fine. As long as you
Okay.
don't drum the microphone, that's okay.
Okay.
Yep. But we are, again, heading towards the end of the book. have two one official chapter and then the epilogue. But I mean, obviously we count that. And then then we're heading into another book. You believe that?
Yep.
Book 2 coming up in a couple weeks.
Nope. I think we're just going to switch gears and we're going to go with Old Republic stuff.
No, I feel like let's just go read Chronicles of Narnia. What do you think? Chronicles of Narnia book club.
Okay.
Did you ever read that when you were a kid?
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay.
Multiple times. I love that book.
Yeah, I actually just downloaded the audio book of the first book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Ward. Well, that's technically not the first book, but you know, whatever. You get the picture.
No, I read the first book.
There's the prequel
the Prince,
book.
Whatever his name is.
I don't remember the entire. It's been a long time. I have all the books in a box set, but I've started to get the audio books.
Those were difficult reads for the age range they went for.
Kind of.
Because wasn't that like recommended age 7 to read
remember.
that?
I
or
really
9?
don't remember what it is, but we're kind of getting off topic here. I think we better end this show before they start getting ideas about what we're doing next.
Is this a 2-hour podcast? I can't see that from here.
Nah, we got about an hour. That's generally what we shoot
Really,
for.
it felt like we talked a long time in
Kind of
Holonet.
did, yeah, kind of did. Well, we are going to go eat some ribs, so
The last holiday till Easter.
yeah,
Thank the Lord.
for sure. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for stopping by and listening to another episode of the Contingency Plan Podcast. We definitely appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of your day.
And as always, may the Force be with you.